At Gatwick, we understand that an airport is more than just passengers and planes. We are a community formed of a variety of businesses who cater for ever-increasing volumes of passengers. These businesses are impacted by the ebb and flow of the airport operation and rely on the information we provide them. The lack of ability to effectively share data in this diverse environment in real time is often singled out as the biggest obstacle to a seamless travel experience.
2 years ago, as I was walking through the check-in area, a passenger approached me and asked where the Iraqi Airways check-in desk was. Told him I didn't know, and his response by looking at my ID card was, "Do you not work here?" That embarrassment was the trigger of the idea of Airport Community App.
To help everyone stay in tune with the airport's movements, Gatwick introduced the Airport Community App in partnership with Airport Labs.
You see, airport ecosystem by nature is fragmented. It is a mini city with more than 200 entities operating on it. Only about 10% of the workforce is directly employed by Gatwick. The rest are employed by ground handlers, airlines, retailers, concessionaires, immigration, police, security agencies, etc. So we wanted to create a digital platform which would serve everybody, not just the airport staff. So we took the idea first to IT Customer Forum, which, by the way, is a B2B forum that we run for entities operating on the campus, and they were quite excited about the idea. Instead of developing it in-house, we actually decided to create it as a multi-airport app. So we discussed the idea with Airport Labs, and they were quite happy to build it and take it to other airports. So that's the approach that we have taken.
The app's been an amazing tool for the team, and it's grown in popularity and usefulness for the team as every single day comes by and as we get more used to using it. And every day you discover a new feature of the app where it helps you just know where you are, what facilities are around you, where airlines are checking in. And it doesn't matter where you are or what you're doing, passengers really need help and support, and this just allows you to have that really in-the-minute information to do the best job you possibly can.
We launched the app more than a year ago, and we now have more than 7,000 active users on it from around 200 entities operating on the campus. We made the app available, and people have downloaded it, and they're using it on their personal devices without any mandate or financial incentive. So it sort of proves that it is quite useful for the workforce on the airport. Since its launch, Airport Labs have also taken the app to other airports, and now we have other airports on board as well using the app, which helps us to reduce the ongoing development cost.
We believe this success is because the Community App has been developed with the user at the center of its design. The user chooses when they want to be alerted using a simple red, amber and green notification system, so they are only alerted for what they need to know when they want to know. The user can also filter the information they see by subscribing to different data channels. The Airport Community App is also provided free of charge to benefit our entire Gatwick community, and authentication is so simple that all that is required is their name, organisation and corporate email address. For the first time, each user has a plethora of useful real-time data, which has been helping businesses streamline their operation and getting them the essential information they need.
I think the Community App's been a really great way of bringing together all the information that the operational team need to deliver great service for our customers. It's helped us connect about 1,900 people that help delivering flights for EasyJet every day. It gives them the information to the fingertips they need to see what's happening right now and help manage the programme as we look forward through the day.
One of the main features is the airport status dashboard on the home page, which is a great example of real-time data sharing. The home page is broken down into categories such as operational messages, emergency state, runway, weather, infrastructure and cancellations, which allow the user to quickly find the crucial information they need. Previously, the Gatwick Control Centre would send out basic and expensive SMS alerts, but thanks to this operational dashboard, Gatwick is saving money on SMS messages and, as you will see, is helping our community in a variety of ways.
As a hotel located inside the terminal building, we use the notifications quite frequently, the operational messages. These pop up and alert us on the current weather state, any emergencies, things that we should be aware of that will affect the operational running of the hotel.
The app's useful for other information, not just relevant for my particular flight that I'm dealing with, but also if we have problems within the terminal, if there's a baggage belt failure, which means we'll have late bags out to the aircraft, which will affect our on-time performance. If there's problems with fire alarms in the departure lounge, which means passengers will be evacuated, so we'll have late passengers to the gate. It's also useful for travel outside the airport. If there's any problems with the roads or trains, we know to expect late passengers. We can then relay that information onto operations and the crew and the impact it has on everybody. And the other one it's useful for is the runways. We have 2 here at Gatwick, 8 left and 2 6 right. And depending on what runway we land on will affect how quickly the aircraft comes on stand, which helps us to make sure we get to the stand on time basically.
During adverse weather, mainly in the winter time, we need to provide for the volunteers to help clear up the airport and keep flights running as usual. And the more notice we get on that, the better. So this year we had to provide just over 2,000 meals with 24 hours notice, which means getting suppliers, staff and logistics in place at the earliest opportunity. The notifications make sure we find out as early as possible.
We do use also an app in order to see if there is any disruptions on the rail or on the road, so we're able to advise our customers that this is something you might be facing during the evening or during the day.
The Sussex Police at Gatwick have a difficult job maintaining safety and security and deciding where and when the best place to be is at any one time. The app supports the safety planning of the airport. For example, the arriving and departing passenger numbers dashboard forecasts the passenger flow in both terminals, hours ahead.
By using a dashboard on the app, what we can do as a department is see the numbers of passengers coming to the airport, be it arriving or departing. Now, as a department, not only do we oversee the terminals, working within them, we actually oversee the forecourts as well. So that's where we actually watch the passengers turning up through transportation. With those figures, it's key, because then when planning ahead in advance, I can look at the passenger flows as you state on the app itself. I have this knowledge and this information at an early stage. And what that means then is when I'm actually planning my staffing levels, I can look at when the key times are, the key dates, and by putting the right levels of staffing on at that time. This, of course, saves me money, because without that, I'd be a bit of a guessing game, shall we say, and then I'm having to put staff on where I may not need them, or there may be days where I need extra staff and I'm not putting them on. So the app really does support and help me in regards to not only making sure my staffing levels are correct, but also it saves me money as well.
Using the passenger flow information is really important for us because as a big business with lots of passengers coming through the airport, from a safety and security point of view, we need to be able to track where passengers are at any one point in time, where there's congestion, where there may be queues, so that we can respond and react really quickly. So for a really good passenger experience, having this real-time information is critical.
One of the most popular features has been the flight search, which enables subscribers to become passenger champions. The search feature provides detailed flight information, complete with check-in, gate, stand, handling agent and operational timeline until takeoff.
So the flight search feature has been really useful because on one occasion I was about to take a flight to Nice, and I was on a British Airways flight from about gate 45 on Pier 4, the North Terminal, and along came a passenger clearly in the wrong place, clearly a bit excited, and he was looking for an EasyJet flight that was going to Naples. So I was able to look on the Gatwick app because there was nothing on Pier 4 that would tell him what was happening wherever he was supposed to have been. I looked on the Gatwick app and found that there was an EasyJet flight going to Naples due to leave from gate 565 on Pier 5 in about 15 minutes. So I was able to tell him, point him in the direction to go, up Pier 4, turn right and go back down Pier 5, and hopefully he had about 15 minutes time. I hope he got his flight that day.
This feature not only allows our subscribers to answer passenger queries, but also support operations in terms of flight operations.
So we use the app constantly in our day-to-day role. The flight timeline feature is especially important for our team, so we can keep a track on the aircraft's individual milestones for that flight and know exactly what is happening, where and when. It's like having our office computer with us in our pocket all the time.
Some of the pilots use the takeoff information displayed on the app to decide whether to push back with a single engine or both engine turned on, because if the takeoff is more than 7-8 minutes away, they could actually start the pushback with a single engine. So that sort of reduces fuel cost and noise on the airfield.
One of the most important user-centric tools of the app has been the feedback feature. The app was well received with the initial scope, but this feature generated lots of other ideas that the development team were unaware of. Many of these were implemented and subsequently attracted other user bases. After receiving numerous feedback requests, a setting option was created to show the flight timeline in local or Zulu time.
The Zulu time function is really useful. Zulu time, or Greenwich Mean Time, is the common reference point for all airlines actually, whichever time zone you're flying through in any part of the world. So all our operational systems, whether it's crew rosters, the crew schedules, all the operational systems that our teams use all reference Zulu time. So being able to orientate the app information to Zulu time helps match that information and avoid any chance of error or confusion.
To improve the integration of our diverse community with the airport, a searchable jargon buster was created to support staff unfamiliar with airport terminology. EasyJet also requested a first wave readiness workflow tool in the app, which would allow their staff to check planes were ready for the first wave of flights each morning. Staff can check off each flight as they go, which also allows for data reporting.
First wave readiness check has been a really important part of making sure that we're set up across the day, and there's so many different agencies that have to come together to do that. It's a great way of checking the status and giving everybody a clear view of how well prepared we are.
Another example of bespoke customization for a customer are the flight information channels created for Menzies.
You know, typically in the airport, sometimes you do get snow and you do get snow cancellation, and snow cancellation normally will happen in mass, and every airline is affected. But when you're on ground and you're trying to get the job done, and you're trying to get the job done effectively, you only want to know and see the flight that you are handling.
The delayed and cancelled flight information in the app has also been very useful to not just our aviation community, but also our hospitality community.
We use the delayed and cancelled flight channels on a daily basis. As we have 245 rooms located inside the airport terminal, it's very handy for us to have a good understanding of how many flights are cancelled, so how many passengers will be requiring accommodation, but also how many guests may not be making it to us because their flight's been cancelled arriving into Gatwick Airport.
Another way the app has encouraged operational efficiency is by creating healthy competition. The airport-wide on-time departure performance, turn and target off-block time performance dashboards on the home page have league tables, where airlines and ground handlers are listed in order of their performance in real time and show the effort required from each organisation to meet their monthly targets.
So for EasyJet, we use the league tables quite a lot. It helps us look at how we're performing today versus other days, and by seeing how well we're performing against the other airlines at the airport, it gives us an idea of actually how well we're doing and what the issues might be that are affecting our performance for the day. And inevitably, when you're looking at how competitor airlines are performing, it also creates a healthy sense of competition to want to do better.
Menzies has got a similar app which was only giving us the visibility of what Menzies does. But this one is great, the fact that you can see over airline and you can see over competitor what they're doing. It does boost the team up a little bit. So what we do normally, we do a screenshot and it tells us the league, and then we send the league on our WhatsApp group with all the management and tell us where we are. If we are going to be number one, what can we do to be number one if we are losing ground sometimes, and it's great. So it keeps everyone aware, and it does bring a little bit of competition as well in the airport amongst handlers, and of course we want to be number one.
The data in this app has been presented in such a clear, user-friendly way that customers have requested dashboards. These bespoke dashboards are dynamic and are able to be tiled and dragged as required, using data from a multitude of data sources.
The desktop dashboards are really useful. As you can see, it's an integral part of the way we monitor the operation now through the day. It gives a very simple, clear overview of what's happening right now, how we're performing so far today, but also a view of what things look like as we progress through the rest of the day and what issues might be facing us later on.
In the event of passenger queries, a comprehensive list of airport contacts was made accessible for the first time.
One of the biggest things about the app, and something that my staff have fed back to me on numerous occasions, is a contact list on the app. We have scraps of paper, we have people's phone numbers here in the office. What the app does is the app keeps everybody phone numbers, contact numbers together. So when you're out and about, you don't have to come back to the office, you can bring up the app, and it could be something like trying to find out who a local airline is somewhere, or who a carrier is, or even a baggage company. And with those contact numbers, we can actually contact them there and then, help the customer out. So it saves time, saves money, and once again we talk about reputation. Once again, it gives the reputation of the airport that I'd like to think the airport is a very, very friendly environment, a very family-oriented airport, Gatwick. And by having that app, we can contact these people and give that customer service that extra little bit.
The app also contains a number of other features, such as the bag search, retail offers for staff, terrorism and security alert pages, fault reporting, check-in queue measurement information, and sponsorship functions. So people without corporate email addresses can access the app.
Passengers expect really good service, really fast, really efficient, and information in a timely way. The app has made such a difference to us having that right at our fingertips anywhere we are in the terminal.
I'd recommend the Gatwick app to any other airport. So it should be the Denver app, or it should be the JFK app, or the Barcelona app. Because often when I go to those airports, I see that the staff only have knowledge of their own little tiny area of what's going on. They only know what's happening with a Delta Airways flight or a Vueling flight that they're in charge of. And so it's really, really useful to be able to know much more about what's happening around the airport.
The relationship with Gatwick has been an excellent one, and we have managed to produce a product that really addresses the current needs of the airport. The community app is an integral part of our operation in about 10 airports right now, and we're trialing it with another probably 5 airports at the current moment across Europe, the Middle East and Far East Asia. We also have started collaboration with airlines, which their staff and their associated companies are using across all their bases in about 140 airports.
The Airport Community App was one of our many innovative projects at Gatwick. At Gatwick, we're continuing to listen to our community and leading the aviation industry with our industry-first solutions.